What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video on the channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be ranking every single NFL starting quarterback from best to worst. So I have this tier list. There are I think 6 tiers. The S tier, that's just like the top tier. The A tier, that's they were really good, but they weren't as good as like the S tier. B tier was they were above average, not too special. C is just like they're just average. D is they're like a little bit below average, but not totally trash. And then F is just like, they're just like garbage, and they're never going to start for an NFL team. Well, I wouldn't say that, but yeah, they were just pretty bad. So let's jump right into this. So, I guess we will start at the bottom, and then at the bottom, I think that we all know that Carson Wentz belongs here. He had a historically bad season. Pretty sure, after his final game, I think there was a stat that he had more turnovers himself than any other team, than a whole team in the NFL. So yeah, that was pretty bad. So he had under 60 yards per game and only like 218. No, he had an under 60 completion percentage and only 218 yards per game. So obviously that's not really good. And the thing that sticks out is that he had 16 throwing touchdowns in like his 12 games played and had 15 picks. So yeah, if you turn the ball over that much, you're just like pretty bad. Okay, so we're gonna go with Trubisky and Foals. You guys are also down here in the F tier. Now, I would say that Mitchell Trubisky probably outplayed Foles, but both of them only had 200 yards per game. And they both threw 8 picks, and when you consider that they both divided up games, 8 picks is a lot when you're only playing half the games. That's just like I'm throwing 16 picks in the whole season, and yeah, they really just weren't special in any way. It was just really weird because Mitch Trubisky was actually winning games, but he was kind of the reason that they were in such a close games, even if they were winning. And then Nick Foles came in, and then he just started going on a losing streak. And then Mitch Trubisky came back and took them to the playoffs. But neither of them did anything good. They again, 200 yards is not very good. And obviously they turned the ball over a lot. Now Ben Roethlisberger, I am gonna put him in the C tier. So obviously the Steelers went on a historic 11-0 start, and when you actually look at his stats, I mean they're not bad. He had 3,800 yards in 15 games. 33 touchdowns and 10 picks. But as a Steelers fan, I mean, I can tell you that he played goddamn well, not awful because he was just really average. He couldn't really push the ball down the field, which is a real concern. And yeah, he just did dink and dunks, and then he definitely degraded at the end of the season in December. So we got off to a really good start, and obviously the Steelers got off to a really good start. But yeah, over time he just went worse and worse, and those stats are a bit misleading because he just dumped the ball down every single time. Okay, next is gonna be Tom Brady. So I'll put Tom Brady in the A tier. He's not in the S tier, but he's also not in the B tier or below that. So Tom Brady, I mean, he came to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm pretty sure they had 2 Super Bowl wins in franchise history, and then immediately he won a Super Bowl with them. So that has to do it itself. But we're not talking about postseason success. We're talking about regular season. I probably should have mentioned that. Yeah, we're talking about the regular season. Now, Tom Brady had a lot of yards, had over 4,600 yards. Also had a lot of touchdowns. I think he had over 40 touchdowns, but he did also have a lot of turnovers for his standard. He had 12 picks, which is just you can't be in the top tier if you have way more than double. Well, I mean, it was still double digits, but still, yeah, it was just he had way too many turnovers. But it was Bruce Arians' system, so I guess I could take some fault after that. Now, Tom Brady had some trouble at times pushing the ball down the field, but of course, he is 43 years old, so that is to be expected, and he played a very good season. Okay, Drew Brees. He is also going in the C tier with Ben Roethlisberger. Now, a little bit of the same with Ben Roethlisberger. He also couldn't really push the ball down the field because obviously he is really old. And yeah, he also missed a few games, which definitely hurts his stock a little bit. And he really didn't throw for that many yards per game, but I will say that he did limit turnovers. He didn't really throw that many picks. He only had 6 interceptions, and he had 24 touchdowns. But again, he was similar to Ben Roethlisberger in just thinking and dunking. So for that reason, they are both in the C tier. Okay, now Joe Burrow, he is going in the B tier because he had an amazing rookie season before he obviously his offensive line killed him. That's what happened. They literally just let him get sacked so many times. And yeah, he just freaking died. Well, obviously, he's not dead. He just, I think, tore his ACL or something like that. It was a really bad injury. Joe Burrow at 2,600 yards. Actually, he was closer to 2,700 yards. 13 touchdowns and 5 picks, and this was only in the 10 games that he played before he got murdered. So yeah, it was a really good season, and actually people were arguing maybe Joe Burrow's season was actually better than Justin Herbert's season up to that point, and obviously he played a very good season before again he got murdered, and those stats speak for themselves. But the fact that he was able to lead a win against the Tennessee Titans, which is a vastly better team than the Bengals, just shows, and obviously that game against the Browns, he had a lot, just a lot of yards, and he practically, basically just carried that whole team. Okay, Cam Newton is also going in the F tier. So obviously Cam Newton is a dual threat quarterback. So grading him the same weight as these pop quarterbacks really isn't fair. But let me just say this: you're a quarterback, so you're getting paid to throw the ball, and if you can add some stuff on the ground, that's fine and all. But if you're getting paid to be a quarterback, then why he had 8 touchdowns and 10 picks. That just says it all for himself. And I know he had a good season on the ground. But mate, you had 8 touchdowns, 10 picks. No one's gonna pay you for throwing more interceptions than touchdowns. So yeah, he goes in the F tier. Okay, next is Derek Carr. I'm gonna put him in the B tier. So this is just basically Derek Carr in a nutshell. Above average, slightly above average. Derek Carr was very efficient throwing the ball. He didn't really turn the ball over many times, but he also didn't have as many touchdowns as some of these other quarterbacks. What I will say though is that Derek Carr's defense is absolutely trash, and the fact that he was actually able to beat Patrick Holmes and the Chiefs along with other very good teams is a feat in it of itself. And he played very good this past season. And I feel if the Raiders move on from him, they're just it's just brain dead. Okay. Now just ignore the 2 players. I mean I suppose it is Tyler Taylor and Justin Herbert. But it really is Justin Herbert. Tyler Taylor only played the first game of the season. So Justin Herbert had an amazing season, broke literally every single rookie record, and obviously went on to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I feel there's not too much to say here except for he's going to be a very good franchise quarterback for his whole career for the I almost said San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers. And I only expect him to get better and better, and he could obviously end up as one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Okay, Kirk Cousins. I mean, people got mad at me last time I did this when I put him in the C tier, or maybe it was the C tier. I think I put him in average, and people got really mad. Well, guess what? Kirk Cousins had obviously didn't have really much defensive help, but he also had a lot of offensive help with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, and he just couldn't get it done. It's a very slow start to the start of the season, and obviously they missed out on the playoffs by a wide margin. And I feel some of that has got to fall on Kirk's shoulders because he's supposed to be the franchise guy, right? He did get his first win in Monday Night Football history, so there is that. But I mean, I just feel Kirk Cousins just so mediocrely average that I don't know. I just have to put him in the average tier. I don't know what else to say. Okay, so this is not only going to be Dak Prescott. This is also going to be Andy Dalton. And I feel again, we're going to put him in the C tier. So Dak Prescott obviously had a historic start to the season before he tore his ACL. But I feel that gets taken out of context a little bit. Because sure, he had a good start to the season. But that was also because his defense was historically bad, and they were losing so much by like the second quarter that like they were just Mike McCarthy was just like, okay, let's throw it all the time because we're just losing so much. So that is why Dak Prescott got off to a good start. And then for Andy Dalton, I mean Andy Dalton played decent, which is why he's in why Dak Prescott and Andy Dalton combined the two are in the C tier. And I just like feel like when people are talking, oh, Dak Prescott had this many yards, like you're forgetting the fact that he was 1-3 as a starter. So yeah, like record definitely has to be taken into account. And like the reason that he like had his short start was because of his terrible defense. So that's why he's in the C tier. Okay, Sam Darnold F tier. Like he just had a terrible season. He regressed with what's his Adam Gase, I think, as his coach, and yeah, that was just like terrible. Okay, Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua Tagovailoa. So I'm also gonna put them in the C tier. So like Ryan Fitzpatrick obviously had that amazing throw against the Raiders. But all in all, they were just pretty average. Obviously, Ryan Fitzpatrick wasn't average. He had a lot of hot streaks and a lot of cold streaks. But Tua was honestly just annoyingly average. He was just like so average that people are kind of bailing on him because he doesn't have anything special. So these two are just perfect because Ryan Fitzpatrick averages out in the average tier, and Tua is like perfect for the average tier. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo didn't really play too much, but there was also Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard, and yeah. These guys go in the D tier because they really didn't do too well. The only reason I have them in the D tier was because Jimmy Garoppolo did have a few decent games at the start. But otherwise, yeah, Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard did not play the greatest. Obviously, because they are backups, so it is expected of them to not play really well. So yeah, they go in the D tier. Okay, Jared Goff is also going in the D tier. So props for him to like hang in there with the with the Green Bay Packers until the fourth quarter with only 4 fingers on his right arm. But yeah, he's definitely going in the D tier, and like I feel like his own team knew that he really wasn't the greatest, which is why they traded him away from Matt Stafford. Now Jared Goff, he had 13 picks with only 20 touchdowns. So what that tells you is he really didn't score too much. And he turned the ball over a lot, which is not a good recipe for success. Couple that with he didn't really have too many yards, so he really wasn't that big of a stat compiler. And yeah, he just goes in the D tier. Now this would be Dwayne Haskins, also Kyle Allen, and also Alex Smith. So these guys. Okay, I feel like I shouldn't put them in the F tier because Alex Smith actually was able to carry them to the playoffs. But yeah, even with Alex Smith, so I should probably talk about them as 3 different quarterbacks. Kyle Allen really didn't play that much, but Dwayne Haskins absolutely sucked. F tier material. Kyle Allen, like probably D tier. He really wasn't the greatest, and he obviously got injured really quickly. And Alex Smith, he did lead his team to the playoffs, but he really didn't play too well. It was really because of his bad defense and that he was probably like the only semi-competent quarterback in his division that they were able to do it, that they were able to win the division along with their good defense. And yeah, if you look at Alex Smith just didn't have enough in the tank left, and it was honestly a miracle that he was even playing at all. So yeah, they go in the D tier. Okay, Danny Turnover Jones, Daniel Fumble Jones, Daniel Interception Jones. Really doesn't matter. So Daniel Jones did not throw for many yards, only like 210 yards per game. And he had 11 picks to 10 touchdowns. You know what? Just me hearing that out loud, he's going in the F tier. Good lord, man. What the heck was that? Also, obviously, he fumbled the ball a lot as well. So he just didn't have a good season all around. Just like no yards. He really didn't add anything to the Giants dynamically wise, like providing a spark. He freaking tripped on what would have been an amazing run. So yeah, fumbled the ball a lot, threw picks a lot, and didn't really score too many times. So for that, he's going in the F tier. Now, someone in the A tier is going to be Lamar Jackson. He definitely took a step down from last year. Actually, when I think about it, yeah, he definitely took a lot of steps down. So I think he'll go in the B tier. So first of all, even though the Ravens are a run-centric team, a run-heavy team, if you can't even average 200 yards a game, man, you're just like not cutting it. He didn't really make too many mistakes though, and that is something to be considered. But his rushing really wasn't up to par from last year. His throwing obviously wasn't up to par from last year. As I said earlier, only 180 yards and not that many touchdown passes. So for that, he gets in the B tier. Now, Drew Lock. Oh, God. Drew Lock. I feel bad putting him in the F tier, so I think I'll put him in the D tier because I don't really want to crowd the F tier too much. But also, it really wouldn't be fair for me to not put him in the F tier, so yeah, you go in the F tier. Less than a 60% completion rate, 16 touchdowns, 15 picks, and not a lot of yards. Yeah, that's just a recipe for disaster. So he turns the ball over a lot. He doesn't throw for a lot of yards. He doesn't really complete that many of his passes. And he's really immature and just likes to take things just carefree about everything. So for all of that, yeah, you go in the F tier. He honestly might be actually no, Carson Wentz was definitely the worst, but yeah, okay. So Patrick Holmes is obviously going in the S tier. He was amazing. And, he got murdered by his offensive line in the Super Bowl. But other than that, he played an amazing season. And if Aaron Rodgers didn't really have a historic season, he probably would have won the MVP again. So Patrick Mahomes was the second most in yards. And he didn't even play the final game. So he should have finished top in yards. Had a lot of touchdowns, not a lot of picks. And yeah, he's just I feel like that's indisputable. He's in that tier. Now, Baker Mayfield, I'll put him in the B tier. I don't really feel like he's A tier material yet, but he did lead the Browns to the playoffs. Now, he started off really, really cold, had 6 or 7 picks in his first 8 games. But once OBJ got injured, then things really started to pick up for Baker Mayfield, and he really just started to get things going and get his act together. And obviously it showed because they made the playoffs. Okay, Gardner Minshew. D tier. As much as I hate to do it to him, yeah, man, he did not play good. He did not play good at all, and it showed because the Jaguars had the worst record in the NFL. Now, he was injured for a few games, and I think he also got benched once or twice. Don't quote me on that. But, yeah, Gardner Minshew just really isn't doing it. And obviously they're going to draft Trevor Lawrence, so, there is that. He's just not going to be around for much longer. Okay, Kylo Murray is also going in the B tier. He started off very hot and then kind of cooled down as the season progressed. Obviously, he got an injury that he was battling. But Kylo Murray, amazing rushing, amazing throwing as well, even though he didn't really have that many yards. And him and DeAndre Hopkins was a very good connection. And yeah, he goes in the B tier. Now, Phillip Rivers. He goes in the C tier. Now, actually, you know what? I'm going to put him in the B tier. He had just enough left in the tank to get the Colts to the playoffs, and obviously he's retired now. But he also played a fairly good season. He really actually took care of the ball a lot more than he did in previous seasons. And he didn't really throw for that many touchdowns, but he had a lot of yards, and obviously he led the Colts to the playoffs, which has to be said for something. Okay, Aaron Rodgers, I feel like I don't really have to explain this. He won the MVP. It's just simple, man. He was the best player in the league last season, or no? He was the best quarterback. Well, he had the best season as a quarterback last season, and yeah, he deserves to be in the S tier. Now, Matt Ryan's probably going to go in the B tier. I know a lot of you guys are hating on Matt Ryan, saying that the Falcons should draft a quarterback, but the Falcons were actually in a lot of shootouts last season. And Matt Ryan obviously plays a part in that because he got into a lot of shootouts, which means that, the offense scored a lot of points, which means Matt Ryan played very well, and he did play very well, and that is why they're in the B tier. Okay, Matt Stafford, C tier. So, a lot of you guys are saying that Matt Stafford is the answer for the Rams. I don't disagree. Personally, I don't think that he's just going to be the Lord and Savior that's going to take you guys to the playoffs. His seasons with the Detroit Lions, these past few seasons have not been really good, especially this one. Yeah, he just didn't really play particularly outstanding. He also didn't play terrible. So yeah, he just goes into average here. Again, Teddy Bridgewater, he seems the same with Matt Stafford. He's also going into average tier. I don't know, he's just painfully average, which shows because the Panthers are trying to move off him right now. But yeah, he was just he's just a perfect bridge quarterback, which is just, the definition of average. Now, Deshaun Watson, S tier, I don't think anyone's really denying it. He played a very good season. And he led the league in yards, and obviously that was why the Texans gave him all this money, and that is why teams are like giving great offers to the Texans who aren't picking them up, but they're giving great offers to the Texans to try and trade for him, and especially that he did it with like the Texans supporting cast. Yeah, that speaks for something. Okay, now these final three players, Ryan Tannehill, Josh Allen, and Russell Wilson, they're probably all gonna go in the A tier, and that will finish this out. So Ryan Tannehill, he was very good, and the Titans' offense was very good, even though their defense really wasn't. He had 33 touchdowns, 7 picks, and did have quite a few yards. And yeah, just an all-around amazing season. So, Josh Allen, he took a really big step up. A lot of you guys like trashed me for putting him in, I think, like above average tier last season. I do agree that I really probably put him a little bit too high, but like this tier is why I put him in that tier, because he had such great potential, and he obviously realized all of that potential. And led the Bills to the conference championship. And Russell Wilson, he started off so amazingly at the start of the season, and then just like tailed off until he just like was absolutely like just mediocre in the final like few games. But yeah, because of his hot start, he goes in the A tier. So anyways, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and if you guys did, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Too easy.